So I'm on vacation this week, so I have more time to do other projects. And this is a kit I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's 125 scale. So I got this at Walmart years ago, and I actually got 3 of these. There's one that I built as a Buddy Baker stock car, but deep down inside, I got these on sale. They were very cheap. Deep down inside, I knew I wanted to build it as Richard Petty. I'm a big fan of Richard Petty, I've always been. And I love Mopars, and I love this style of charger. So I got myself some decals. Decals by Slot Car Fever. So I'm getting ready to build this kit for you, one step at a time. So how I open my kits, I just slide my X-Acto along the lines, and I just remove the bottom, and that allows me to keep the plastic on the top part. Makes the model look way better. Inside there's instructions, decals, there's a catalog like that gives me extra information on how the car is supposed to look. So I took the time to look at some pictures from old stock cars, and especially this stock car, and sometimes Richard Petty. On some races the wheels were painted silver, other races they were painted blue, some races they were chrome. I'm a little bit partial to chrome, so I'm going to be keeping my wheels chrome for this kit. Most of the time the wheels would have been painted blue for Richard Petty. And that's what you get with the kit. I'm going to basically be following the instructions. The only difference is I'm going to paint them in a different order of my own making. So when I first open up my kit, this is what I look for. This is called a valance panel. It goes in front of the car. I'm going to glue this on my body before I paint it. The same with the hood. I'm going to remove it from the sprue, and I'm going to make sure that it gets painted separately. That'll make my model look much better. So as you remove them from the sprue, be careful not to remove material from the part. Leave a little bit so you can trim it later with your X-Acto. So I'll go through every part carefully, looking for flash like this. I can cut it before I paint the car. So as you build your model, there's going to be little parts of dust or a sprue that you just removed that's going to cling to your body because of static electricity. So it's very tough to get all of it out. So what you need to do, you need to use some soap and water just to remove also some of the mold release agents and all this dust. So I will mostly let it air dry to get all the water out. If you use anything like a Kleenex or a rag, you're going to deposit extra lint on it, so you want to avoid that. So it's best to let it air dry. Don't shortcut this. It makes a really big difference. I know I'm going to cover it with a lot of decals, but for my own personal satisfaction, I want the paint job to be perfect. And you never know, maybe the next car I do will be just the road version, and on the road version you'll see the paint very well. So I want to get some extra practice. So now I'm all set up for painting. So that turned out very well. Very pleased with the results. So while the paint's drying on the body, I'm going to assemble the chassis. You can use clothespins to hold together parts while they're drying. This car is from the era of NASCAR where they actually used real cars to make stock cars. And that's the area that I like most. But I really do like the way they make those stock cars look. So now I'm working on all the parts that are going to be painted blue. So as I go through this sprue, I'm starting to plan what's going to be painted black, what's going to be painted silver, and what's going to be painted blue. So all the blue parts are going to be glued straight onto the chassis, and it's really starting to shape up now. So while the glue is drying on my chassis, I'm going to start putting up my decals. The Tamiya paint dries very shiny. It's a joy to work with. So now my decals are done, and I'm ready to paint my chassis blue to match the body. At this point my body's painted and my chassis is painted. So I gathered together all the parts that I wanted to paint flat black. So I'm going to do just that now. Well, at this point all my blue parts are painted. All my black parts are painted. And my orange parts, my silver parts, my yellow and red parts are all painted. So I'm ready to assemble all that together. It's a beautiful sunny day here. So before, these tires happen to be very subtle, so I can put them on the rims. I can pre-glue my rims, put the tires on. But before I do, I want to run them on my sandpaper. This will make it look more realistic, and I'm going to get rid of this mold line at the same time. So now all you got to do is slip them onto your rims. So you can do that just like real tires. You just slip it on just like you had a real tire machine. And voila, repeat 4 times. So I put all my parts together. The chassis is very interesting looking. You could even display it like that. I find that very, very good looking. This is the other side of the chassis. Very nice looking. And under the chassis, well, this would always be visible anyways, but it looks good. So here's my completed model. Very good looking car. Sometimes I like to complain about how expensive a real 69 Dodge Charger is, but a 74 like that, still reasonably priced. It's actually really good looking. So that's a model that's dear to me. Big fan of NASCAR back when they were using real stock cars to make stock cars. I especially like the way this car sits with the low front. So I hope you enjoyed this video. See you soon.